In today's episode, we're talking about a Missouri man who strangled his wife to death while she was in the hospital being treated. Wait until you hear his reasoning why and some of the comments that I saw pertaining to this case. Welcome, lambs. Welcome to your Tuesday True Crime episode. If you're new here, my name is Kai, and this is Love and Murder, Heartbreak to Homicide, the Tuesday edition. Also, if you hear that noise in the background, that is my fan going. My AC is loud, so I at least turned that off for y'all. However, the day that I'm recording, it's supposed to reach 106 degrees here, and just turning off the AC for a couple minutes, it's stifling this area. So I left the fan on at least because I need some air. Apologies for the background noise. Now let's get into it. Before we begin, I want to remind you that this episode and all my episodes are sponsored by my lambs in Patreon, patreon.com/Love and Murder. If you want to be a sponsor of Love and Murder and get some bonuses and extras, then head on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/Love and Murder. Now let's get into this True Crime Tuesday. On Friday, May 3rd, 2024, in Independence, Missouri, a woman was at the hospital, Centerpoint Medical Center to be exact, to receive medical treatment. The medical treatment she was getting a new port for her dialysis. As of 7:30 p.m., she was well. Everything was going well, nothing to report there. However, around 8:30 p.m., a code blue was called, which, if you didn't know, a code blue means that, there's a medical emergency in progress, like maybe she flatlined. After life-saving measures and regaining a pulse, the victim was then moved to the second floor of the intensive care unit, which is the ICU. However, sometime later, they determined that she was brain dead and made preparations to harvest her organs. Around 11:22 p.m., an off-duty officer who was actually working at the hospital at that time responded to an assault on the sixth floor in the ICU. Witnesses told him that there were suspicious injuries on the victim, including redness on the sides of her neck and a, quote, fresh wound in the middle of her throat, which they said this couldn't have been caused by when they tried to resuscitate her earlier. We don't like strangle the neck when we're trying to resuscitate. We, pump the chest. So if anything, all the wounds should have been on the chest or even the mouth trying to intubate her or anything like that. It wouldn't be like around her neck. Hospital staff told police also that they allegedly heard the patient's husband, a 75-year-old man by the name of Ronnie Wiggs, say, quote, "I did it. I killed her. I choked her." So after they had the code blue at 8:30 p.m., let me tell you what happened. Ronnie left the hospital, but then when everything had died down and they ended up declaring her brain dead, the hospital called the victim's son and told him everything that was going on, saying that she was found unresponsive in her room, she had no pulse, and, the brain activity, everything that's going on. So he packed up Ronnie. Now, it wasn't clear if Ronnie's his dad or his stepdad. They say the victim's son, and they say he packed up Ronnie to bring him back. So I'm not entirely sure if this is his father. Either way, he told Ronnie, we need to go back to the hospital. So the both of them jumped in the car and went to the hospital. And this is when Ronnie said, I did it. I killed her. I choked her. So police arrested him. And in an interview with detectives, Ronnie did admit to killing the victim by choking her and covering her mouth to prevent her from screaming. He also told detectives, allegedly, that he then left the hospital and said he had attempted to kill her 2 other times while she was hospitalized, including one of those times was when she was at a rehab facility for medical issues. He said when he tried to kill her while she was at the rehab, she caught him by waking up and told him not to do it again. So he said, okay, and tried 2 other times and finally succeeded. And outside of those 2 times, he had tried to kill, or he had planned, not tried, he had planned to kill her even another time, but he couldn't because she was hooked up on, quote, several monitors. And so all of this was in his way and he couldn't kill her. This is all the stuff he's telling the police. He told police that he was, quote, depressed. Dude, I know so many people, myself included, who are or have been depressed. None of them tried to kill anybody. But he said, hey, police, I'm depressed. And so I decided to strangle my wife, quote, because he could not take care of her anymore and he could not pay the medical bills that had been acquired. Dude, you tried to kill your wife because she was sick and medical bills was mounting. There were so many other options for you to take. Like, literally, you could have divorced her at that time. Would you have been seen as a piece of shit? Yeah. But are you seen as a piece of shit now? Also, yeah. You could have divorced her and said, you know what? I don't want these bills. That's on you. You're the one who, quote, decided to get sick. And I'm saying that sarcastically, but that was an option. You could have just divorced her. You could have said, hey, I'm not paying these and just gone into default, I guess. You just wouldn't have been able to buy a house or a car or anything like that, but she would have still been alive. You could have, and trust me, I'm not saying don't pay your bills. That's not my advice. But I'm telling you, it's better than murder. Isn't there a thing in the United States we have that's called bankruptcy? You could have filed bankruptcy, which I don't really understand how bankruptcy works, but I'm pretty sure it allows you to pay off what you owe in like chunks or something like that. I'm not really sure. Either way, still a better option than murder. You could have up and just walked out of her life. Still a better option than murder. Because I guess if you had divorced her, if you had walked out of her life, you would have been seen as a complete and utter dick for leaving your wife while she was sick. But then again, you murdered her while she was sick, so you're seen as an even bigger dick. So choices here. One of them, you're out of jail, and the other one, you're in jail. And when you get out of jail, you're still going to have those bills to pay. Initially, he was charged with first-degree domestic assault, and he was being held because at the time the police did arrest him or held him, his wife hadn't been pronounced dead yet. So they had just held him on charges of first-degree domestic assault. However, after all of this and after everything he said, and now she's brain dead and, they're going to have to da-da-da-da-da, now it's murder. And so he was recharged with second-degree murder. So he made his first court appearance on May 9th on the second-degree murder charge, and he didn't have a lawyer, so they had referred him to the public defender's office. And he was also being held on a $250,000 bond. Now, this case of Ronnie Wiggs strangling his wife to death over mountain medical bills is something that needs to be talked about. And I'll show you why. But this is something that needs to be talked about because in the US, the financial strain of our healthcare system is affecting many people and their mental health. Now, how about this? Since I guess everything is money here, hospitals do provide healthcare systems for the patient. Is there a way that they can also provide mental health systems for the caregivers and the family members of the patients? But then again, that's more money. There's no way in this country that we're about to do that for free. So while you're stressed out about the mountain hospital bills because, your significant other decided to go and have cancer, you need mental health help to keep you from doing something crazy, for instance. So then you seek out that help and they hand you another bill on top of the ones that you're trying to talk to them about. It's just, I don't think there's a way out of this unless we have free healthcare like the rest of the world. To me, I think that's a bare necessity needs. Everybody needs a doctor, dentist, eye care, everything like that. And that's where our taxes could be going anyway. We pay taxes. Why don't our taxes come back to us? We pay taxes for our senators to live rich, live in mansions. That's where our taxes are going, including other things. But why don't our taxes, the taxes that we work hard for, go into a system and come back to us? That's what I don't understand. Now, speaking with domestic abuse experts at the Rosbrook Center, they said that incidents like this are not uncommon. That's why I was saying we need to have something where we're helping the patient, but we're also helping the caregivers. Incidents like this are not uncommon. Why are we not addressing it? And so this story actually came from a news clip that I had seen online. And so some of the comments under that news clip said that, quote, the fact that the reporter said that it's not uncommon is disturbing in itself. I completely agree. It's just not uncommon, and then let's just move on with life. If you find out something's not uncommon, why are we not working to fix it? Why are we not bringing more light to this? Another person said, yeah, unfortunately, it's not uncommon. Medical bills put strains on family and sometimes lead to them killing their sick family members. That's completely sad. Another person said, the fact that he said her medical care was too expensive, it was too expensive to take care of her now, that should be deemed disturbing as a society. I completely agree. They went on to say, they probably fall in the category of too rich to qualify for Medicaid, but too poor to afford all those medical bills. One of the worst places to be. My heart goes out to the family. No excuses for what he did, nor am I condoning it. Another person said, that was extreme. He could have filed bankruptcy. That's what I said about the medical bills. I also blame the hospital for not giving him any information about how to get some financial relief. That could have been something they do too. Look, if you're going to charge me $60 for a Band-Aid, you can take time out of your day to tell me how I can get help to pay for this bill. If you're going to charge me $30 for sitting in this seat, just sitting here, you can take time out of your day to tell me how I could find help to pay for this bill. Another person said, this is the domino effect of the issues caused by greedy pharmaceutical hospital systems and insurance companies. Unfortunately, this is not uncommon. Many sick family members get murdered by family members because they literally can't afford to live. How is that something that we want our country to be known for? This is not uncommon. How is that something? This is insanity. And like one of the comments said, I am not condoning this or giving anybody excuses for murdering anybody. I'm just saying this is a sad state of affairs when somebody thinks the only thing they could do is, hey, I need to stop this mountain debt. The only thing I can think of is killing the problem. That's a sad, sad state of affairs. And to find out that this is not uncommon, it's just, oh my God. So anyway, that is the case of Ronnie Wiggs, who decided that it cost too much to let his sick wife live. Again, I don't condone murder, and I don't even understand where he's coming from, because you had so many options to choose from. But this is a sad state of affairs here. So let me know what you think about this in the comments below. What other options do you think Ronnie had? I want to hear your thoughts, because if you can tell me what other options he had, this is the United States. I know the rest of the world isn't going to understand because y'all don't have the same issues. But my United States lambs, if you can give me other options that Ronnie could have taken, this is something I could read out on air. And anybody who's going through this same predicament, and maybe for some reason you're thinking this same thought, I can bring you options that you could take instead of murder. So please give me your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And speaking of thoughts, let's read a couple of your comments from past episodes. I know I haven't done that in a while, but I am going to go back to it. I'm not going to go back to it for every single episode, but I will go back to read in your comments in certain episodes. So on the episode of Douglas Lehman, which was the Ohio woman who was arrested for abuse of corpse because she drove a dead body to the bank. I don't know if you remember that episode, but I do have the link in the show notes below. She jumped in the car with a dead body and drove it to the bank and tried to take out money. So if you want to hear that episode, the link is in the show notes below. My question was, do you think Karen and Laureen was just using Douglas this entire time? And Christina Bobo said, I agree that they were leeches. Their reaction to go drain his account proves that. I also agree that there isn't enough love or fear to make me go along with a crime. I'd pretend to go along with it and then proceed to go straight to the police. Exactly my sentiment. Don't do crime around me. I'm telling you right now. Don't do crime around me because I'm not the one. You know where Sing Like a Bird came from? That's me saying what I would do. I'm going to sing like a bird. Don't ask me to help you move a body. Don't ask me to help you chop up anybody. Don't ask me to help you kill somebody. Telling you right now on live podcast, don't ask Kai to do any of those. So anyways, in the comments below, please go ahead and let me know other options that people who are facing this same predicament, just rising hospital bills, what other options do they have to take? If you're in the healthcare field, please put them in the comments below. If you've dealt with it yourself, or if you could just think of anything, you're a financial expert or anything like that, please let me know in the comments below and I will read that on air in a future episode. Don't forget that a free and easy way of helping me out is by simply sharing this episode. So if you have someone that you know who's in the healthcare field, go ahead and share this episode with them via text message. Just hit the share icon on whatever platform you're on and share with anybody that you know who's in the healthcare field. And that is all I have for you today. Can't wait to read your comments, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.